Good morning, my lug nuts. It is a great day to see you. I'm happy to be back out in the shop today. Unfortunately, Safety Man Goose could not join us today. It's a little yucky outside, and just wanted to get this video in. We're fixing to go on a little trip, and I realized that I hadn't uploaded a video in a few days. So I wanted to share with you a project that we're working on. This one's going to be a little bit different. This is not one that we want to keep. And I'll go into that. So as you can see, I'm back in normal South Texas attire, back to my nice comfortable shorts and tennis shoes and t-shirts. It's probably about 58, 60 degrees outside right now. It's very, very humid here in the shop. Cloudy, rainy, stuff like that. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about this 1983 K5 Blazer. So a little bit of a backstory on this. I go to the Mecum auctions every time they're here in Houston. I have flown to Indianapolis to go to Mecum auction to buy a specific vehicle that we haven't covered yet on the channel. In my collection in here, as I've stated before, there are some cars that are keepers, some cars that we're going to want to keep forever. That I've always wanted to own or collect, or that my wife has always wanted to own or collect, or that we build ourselves for the kids or anything like that. Then there are flip cars, cars that I think are a good deal, that could possibly, if we find them, put a little bit of money into them, flip them, just something to have a project to work on. So, that's what this 83 Blazer is. So backstory on it is we were at Mecum. It was late on Saturday, closing day of the auction. Everybody had pretty much left the room. They were just sending cars through and closing them out pretty quick and everything else. And Mama Lugnut and I were still sitting around, walking around and looking. And this 83 K5 Blazer came across the block. And I'll tell you, we had watched these square body Blazers go across the block. And they had been going for some pretty good amounts, $40,000, $45,000, $35,000 and up, things like that. They were kind of all over the place, depending on condition and things that had been done to them. Mama Lugnut has a theory that Chevrolet is going to re-release the Blazer like Ford did the Bronco, and the market for these things is going to go off the charts. Well, there's already a pretty solid market for these things. Especially this particular version, because this particular version happens to have an LS 6-liter swap already done on it. It's got a 4L60 E transmission in it. It's already had the 6-liter LQ9 put in it. It already runs. It drives. Drives is a broad statement, but it runs. You can drive it and everything else like that. So, and it's a pretty clean body. The interior is a mess. Door panels are crappy. And this thing went across the block late on Saturday after all the money had left the room. And it went across at no reserve. Started looking at it and it kind of stalled out right around $20,000. And so by the time the hammer fell, I paid $24,000 for this Blazer. With the swap already done, starts up, runs, drives, everything else like that, needs some love on the inside and everything else. Well, in my mind, at $24,000, even with auction fees and everything else like that, we can put a little bit of money into it, clean it up, shine it up, put it back up for auction at Mecum, and get closer to that 35, 40, 45 number, depending on when it goes at auction, what day it is, what its position is, and how good I can make it look. Like I said, it already runs, it already drives, it sounds great. It's got new wheels and tires on it and everything else like that. So it's a pretty clean project. That was last April. And just to give you an idea, it's January 29th today. And I really haven't done anything to it. It's been sitting here since April. And I was having a conversation with a friend the other day. And we were talking about putting some of his cars up at Mecum, and I happened to look at the calendar and said, okay, well, Mecum's coming the first week of April. And then I said, oh, shit, that's 2 months away. And I realized that we hadn't done anything on the Blazer. We haven't gotten anything done for it. I haven't ordered anything. We've just kind of been piddling around. getting the shop done, working on a few other little projects here and there, working on the farm, stuff like that. So I said, well, okay, let me get my ass in gear. Because as I've stated before, I have a little bit of ADD. I get hyper focused on projects, and then I will push them off. I will procrastinate over little things, dumb stuff. So the only thing that I've really done to this Blazer to this point is put a bunch of tie rod ends, steering tie rod ends in, and everything else, because those were all wallered out. I'm fixing it. You'll see me put a basic alignment on it just to kind of get it leveled out so that it'll drive down the road. Because as it is right now, this thing wants to walk all over the road because the front tires are towed out a little bit on it. So back to the Blazer. So the idea is, for this series of videos, is I'm going to take you along with where we got it, which I've already given you that. I'm going to be completely transparent about the numbers that we spend on it, things like that. We're going to do all of our own work. And I'm going to take you along to auction, and we're going to put it back up at Mecum auction. I'm going to share all the pricing and the process as best I can. And we're going to see if we can make a little bit of money on this thing, at least break even. So as part of that, Mama Lugnut gave us a visual aid today. So on that visual aid, we have the Blazer. All right. So I'm going to switch sides over here, and in case you missed it, it's the Blazer. So we paid about $24,000 for this Blazer. With Mecum Auctions, as a buyer, you pay 10% in auction fees. So that's another $2,400. I found some 2018 Chevrolet Silverado seats that we're going to put in, cloth seats, because this has the Chevy OBS seats in it that are gross. I ordered a set of Dakota Digital gauges because when they did the LS swap, they didn't hook up any of the gauges, so none of the gauges in the dashboard work or anything like that. So I ordered a set of gauges, and mind you, I just did this the other day, and these parts will be coming in the next few days because, well, I panicked and said, oh crap, I got to get this thing done. Ordered a set of gauges from Dakota Digital with the box that will make it talk to the OBD2 system. Ordered interior parts, door panels, inserts, handles, ordered a new dash bezel to go around the new gauges, things like that. Ordered from Classic Industries and Dakota Digital to get all of these parts. About $720 worth of interior parts. Then we've got about 100 parts in the steering. I don't have to hold that up. Yay. It'll probably fall in a minute. About $100 in parts for the tie rod ends and everything else like that we did. So as of the other day, we calculated out that we've got about $28,620 invested in this Blazer as it sits right now. We, at worst case scenario, and I say worst case, best case, if we get a really good spot at Mecum, and the key to that is getting in as early as you can. And they'll assign you different slots. There are better slots than others. Friday afternoon, Friday midday and afternoon, Saturday starting at about 11 o'clock till about 3 o'clock are really great times to be having cars go across the block at Mecum. But it's $1,000 to put a car up for auction. That's an auction fee. You don't get that back whether the car sells, whether it doesn't sell. Whatever, it's at worst case scenario it goes $500, $750, or $1,000. At least that's what it was last year or year before when I sold a car there. I'm assuming it's the same. I haven't looked it up, but it's probably pretty close to the same. So that'll be $1,000 in auction fees. Now, what we did was we calculated out what it would take to pretty much break even. So that puts us at about $29,600, give or take, that we would have to clear after the 10% seller's fee. So Mecum makes its money on the percentages of the hammer price. They catch 10% on both sides of the hammer price. As I stated earlier, the buyer pays 10% above what the hammer price was. The seller pays 10% of the hammer price. So Mecum makes about 20% on every one of their cars, plus what it costs to list it in the auction. And that's how they make their money. That's how they're able to put on the grand show. That's how they're able to do everything that they do for us. It's just an accepted part of the business. It is what it is. So you just have to take that into account when you're A, buying a car at auction, and B, selling a car at auction. Now, it's easy to do the math when you're buying the car. It's plus 10%. Well, when you're selling the car, it's incremental. So in this case, we figured that we were at about $33,000. We would break even on the car at $29,600. How'd we get there? Well, $33,000, 10% of that would be $3,300. You take the $3,300 minus the $33,000 hammer price, you're now at $29,700, which is right about what we're at. So at $33,000, if we don't put buy any more parts for this thing, we'll break even at $33,000. Now, given the market price of what I saw last year, 35, 38, 40, 45, 47, I mean, these things were going pretty well, wide variety. I didn't put my hands on every single one of them, so I couldn't tell you what the differences are, but there's going to be differences in each of them. There's going to be differences depending on what day and time it goes through, as I already talked about, and what's in the room. What's the market like on, are the people in the room looking for hot rods, or are they looking for trucks, or, what is the room doing? And, though that you can't control. That's just going to be what it's going to be, and you just have to make the decision. So we are projecting a break even of about $33,000. Now, to get there, we have looked at everything that we need to do on here. Now, the carpet is all in good shape. We've got a to-do list. Now, Mama Lugnut created this list to hold me accountable, to give me a checklist, because in my brain, in my ADD brain, I could keep it all in my head, but then I would invariably forget something until the last minute, this whole project, and go from there. So with that being said, we went ahead and we did a list. So things we're going to do, we are going to refresh all the carpets in this thing. We are going to take all of the trim down around it and everything else, and I'll take you on a tour of the car of the truck as we're going through it. But we're going to take all the trim down and we're going to repaint all the trim. We're going to install the new set of seats. We're going to do a cover for the back seat, because I did buy the front and rear seats from the Chevrolet, but the width on the back seat is narrower than the Chevrolet seats. So we can't do that. So we're going to put a cover on the back seat. I need to just do a rough alignment on it and get it back in alignment. We have to do the dash, new instrument cluster, wire in the Dakota Digital gauge, the new Dakota Digital gauges, wire in the new dash put in the new dash bezel, figure out what we're going to do about the radio, stuff like that. Then we've got new door panels coming for it. So we're just going to replace the whole upper door panel. I'm going to refresh the carpet on the bottom, carpet inserts on the bottom. Clean all of that stuff up. I'm going to go into the engine compartment. I'm going to clean up the engine compartment. It's dirty. Under the hood looks a little rough. It needs some lipstick. It just, the attention to detail in cleaning and everything else just wasn't there by the previous owner, the one who did the LS swap. We're going to level it out for some reason. This thing sits just a little bit lower on the driver's side, and I don't know why. It may be a shackle issue or a spring issue. We're going to take a quick look at that, see if we can get it leveled out. We're going to cut and buff the exterior. We're going to shine it up real good. It already has a really good black paint job on it. It's got some drips in some areas that aren't that big of a deal, but we're going to clean it up. We're going to make it shine. We're going to shine the tires and everything else like that. There is an exhaust system on it, and one of the exhaust pipes drops below the cross member for the transmission. I don't particularly like that. I think it looks funky from the side, so we're going to fix that. Somebody has a big, gigantic trailer hitch on the back of it, which I have no idea why that's there, but we're going to take that off of there just for aesthetic purposes. But overall, that's the plan for this truck. When it's done, we're going to, like I said, take it to Mecum auction. We've got about 2 months to get this thing done. So all other projects in the shop, all other working and everything else in the shop is at a standstill unless I have to fix one of the kids' cars or do anything on one of my personal vehicles, my daily drivers or anything like that. We're we're going to focus on this. So we're going to do the whole series. I'm going to take you along. Hopefully, if we can get to that 50 subscribers, hint, hint, like, subscribe, follow along. You can follow along on this project. And like I said, we're going to be completely transparent on what we spend, how we spend, what we did. And then we're going to take you to auction with us. We're going to shoot some videos at the Mecum auction. We're going to run this thing across the block. And we're going to see if we can break even on this project. See if we can make a little bit of money on this project. I think that making $2,000 or $3,000 on the project is a good goal. I think it's an achievable goal. I think that under the right circumstances, this thing could run. We could make $5,000, $10,000 on it. I don't know, but I'm willing to take that risk, and I'm willing to share that information with you guys. And so, if you follow along, keep up with us. We'll be releasing these videos as we go. Hopefully, I can do some lives. If not, we'll just keep shooting video. They are going to be a little bit longer because we're going to spend some time working on it. If I do shoot it as just video, I'll fast forward through the boring parts in the video. But that being said, this is our 1983 K5 Blazer Mecum project. We're going to call it Project Mecum. That's what we're going to call it. Project Mecum. That being said, that's it for this video today. Thanks for watching. Always like and subscribe, as I said earlier. And, as I always remind you, lug nuts, keep the rubber side down and the shiny side up.